Maybe I'm scared to let the past go. I'm afraid to forget him. He's my soulmate. The closeness we shared was unbelievable. But then why did I destroy our partnership? Why did I hurt him so much? Why do I still not want to let him go? Hi everybody, I'm Christine, your emotion coach. We are on journal number 11 today. I'm so excited to share this one with you. We'll be talking about some HSP struggles, authenticity, finding your tribe, dealing with a sensitive stomach. That's kind of where my HSP journey, my spiritual journey began, was with some physical ailments and the ever-present fear, right? Also, stick around to the end because after I read you this journal entry, I'll be just chatting with you briefly about a couple of these points just to show you from my now perspective, right? Like 16 some years later, from this perspective, how I now see these things falling into place. But at the very end, I wanted to add on this channeled in a way, meditation. I was at a sound retreat, well, not even a workshop. It was like an hour and a half in the evening. There was a wonderful man named Paul Hubbard who does singing bowls and guided meditations, and he was leading this little workshop and this just guided meditation of an hour and a half with these singing bowls. And I feel like it hugely opened up my chakras. That was the first time that my head started like spinning in a vortex, and ever since then, that is a very easy way for me to connect with my higher self. So I feel like that one really opens me up to communicate with my higher self. So I'm so excited to share with you. I have a long, oh my gosh, it's probably like 6 pages of like what I remember, right? It's like I went through this experience, all these images that I saw, basically the journey that I went on through this singing bowl meditation, guided meditation. And just wonderful, just the imagery, the insights. It'll share a little bit about my childhood and what I remember, and just a couple of wonderful spiritual insights. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I put it at the end. I don't know how long it'll be, probably 10 minutes or so. But anyway, and before we get into it, if you haven't grabbed your free guide, I put together an amazing, actually it's a few videos long, but I also put it together in a short little guide. There are the 3 most important tools for any highly sensitive. This is some of the best work that I've done in the shortest condensed version, because I want you to have something now and something that you're aware of, something you're like, if I hit these 3 points, I'm good. So go download it. Link is below. Let's get into journal number 11. Monday, 2nd day of June, 2008. Today I have already succeeded in getting back to my center. I had a busy morning trying to get things done. Mainly all the things I need to mail out to my clients and to my friend in Germany, finally. So I'm catching myself running around trying to finish everything to get to Costa de Luz for lunch. So I'm starting to feel hot and headachy and moody because it seems like the day is passing me by. Yet then I smile and remember to slow down. Everything will happen at the right time. Each day is a gift, and I plan for some meditation and journaling time later in the day. I am at ease. I trust my angels. I release all worries and fear about money, time, love, and health to my angels. I am at ease. I love myself. I love life. I am as free as an eagle. I just texted my boyfriend this sentence, quote, "Oh, babe, I have been focusing so much on what you don't have," like understanding of the spiritual energy world, "that I totally forgot about all the wonderful things you do have," end of quote. It is true, I would like my partner to be more spiritual, but I cannot force it. I can only introduce him to it. He hasn't rejected this way of living. He has merely never heard about it. There is a lot to love about this man, and if I want to go on midnight walks to see the stars, then I will have to take charge and go for it. So I'm at the post office ready to send my friend's letter. I wonder when it will reach her. I wonder what her reaction will be when she sees the letter. Will she smile? Will she cry? Where does she live now? She has always been a good friend to me, except when I felt ridiculed for my choices in food and clothes and makeup, but I was probably oversensitive. So many good memories, hanging out, talking late night on her balcony, watching the stars. She's such a strong woman. She always knows what needs to be done and charges ahead. She is not afraid to speak up and take the lead. Yet I don't think she knows anything about conscious living or spirituality. I need to make friends my age which walk an enlightened path. It's almost as though I'm afraid that my spirit gets dimmer when my friends are not walking a spiritual path. Have no fear. You are strong. Yes, it is important to be around people who seek enlightenment, yet do not shy away from those who currently aren't, for you can be their inspiration. This afternoon, my stomach is not feeling so well again. Lots of bloating, tightness, and pain. I'm looking at Cheryl Townsley's Bach flower book. Candida means oppressed, resentful, self-condemned, unforgiveness, anger. About what? I don't know what I'm resentful or angry about. Is it Sebastian? I don't know how I could have done anything better. It was like deciding between myself and our relationship. I don't know how I could live in Germany right now, yet that is what it would take to be with him. Plus, it seems that he has changed. He is so cold and closed off, and I feel like I did it. I release my worries to the angels. I forgive myself. Everything will happen at the right time. More from this book. Quote, bowels. Apprehensive, reluctant, hesitant, control, fear. Stomach. Ability to digest new ideas and emotions. End of quote. Now I'm looking at Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Body. Quote, colon, holding on to the past, fear of letting go. I easily release that which I no longer need. The past is over and I am free. End of quote. Maybe I'm scared to let the past go. I'm afraid to forget him. He is my soulmate. The closeness we shared was unbelievable. But then why did I destroy our partnership? Why did I hurt him so much? Why do I still not want to let him go? Quote, stomach problems. Dread, fear of the new, inability to assimilate the new. Life agrees with me. I assimilate the new every moment of every day. All is well. End of quote. I see that. I am uncomfortable with new, unknown situations since I don't know what is expected of me or how I should behave. But remember, all you need is to be confident in yourself. Just be yourself. Believe in yourself. Remember that you are strong, loving, and honest. Have no fear. Your angels are always there to guide and protect you. During my chakra yoga, is that where all the fear comes from? Am I afraid I will never find a guy like Sebastian again? And what about my current boyfriend? I love him so much. I want that kind of connection with him. Is it possible? Are we meant to be? I'm afraid of hurting him and losing him, of not having him in my life. He has done so much for me. He shows so much love and understanding. Fear is the big issue. I feel like I'm afraid of everything. I release my fears to my angels. I ask my angels, what is making my stomach sick and how can I change it? I drew a couple of angel cards. Quote, relationship. To attract, heal, or balance a relationship, snuggle more closely with your Creator. As you feel safe and loved within, so shall your other relationships bloom and prosper. This card signals that you're entering a more positive phase in your relationships. Like the angel portrayed on the card, you just need to hang on a little while longer. The answer to your question lies within your relationship. Trust your feelings about your current relationship and act accordingly. A positive transition is occurring in a current relationship, which could include a healthy ending. End of quote. I asked my power deck cards, how do I deal with conquering my fears? Aspiration. Quote, aspiration stimulates power. It is your aim spiritually and physically in the world and involves the totality of your being. Balance between spiritual and physical. End of quote. I am so glad my spirit chose a temporary human form, for it allows me to feeling the touch of another person, the breath of soft words whispered into your arms, the warmth and love of a hug, and the passion and fire as your twin flame kisses you gently. I cannot imagine being without that. A card which laid on top of the deck after shuffling shows a monk meditating in an open temple surrounded by mountains. The name of the card is Harmony. Quote, harmony lives in the lodge of balance and involves equilibrium between the physical and spiritual aspects of your life. End of quote. And then we'll get into the sound meditation by Paul Hubbard. But first, I wanted to say a couple of things. What did you think? How are you feeling about this journal? Journal number 11. Was it easy to hear? Was it hard to hear? Did you have some moments where you were like, oh, me too, I'm struggling with that. I hear you. Some of it is sometimes a bit hard to share because it's dear to my heart. These are emotions that I've felt. These are issues that I've dealt with. And it's definitely vulnerable. But I'm hoping it will help you to feel heard, to feel seen, to feel understood, to feel like you're not alone in whatever you're going through. So this journal, as so many of them, just kind of starts with me being aware of my emotions, which is an incredibly powerful thing to do, right? This is where I start so many of my workshops that I put together for my coaching clients, is we start with pay attention and identify, name the emotion, be aware of your emotion. Don't shy away from your emotion. So often we have taught ourselves to not pay attention, to shy away, to try to downplay because they're so intense. We're afraid if we even name it, then we're going to be overtaken by them. And it's not true. The opposite is true. It's going to keep you nagging until you actually pay attention to it and name it. Soothing yourself with words, with affirmations. So often in my journals, you will realize that I start with just like writing down what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, what I'm thinking, and then going immediately into like affirmations, right? I am unconditionally loved and eternally supported. All is truly well. I am guided in every moment, right? I've just kind of made myself these phrases, these affirmations of things that I need to hear when I'm in a fearful state, in an anxious state, in a worried state, in an overwhelmed state. If you make yourself those kind of cues and you keep repeating them, you keep using them, something that truly touches your heart, that lets you feel that, oh yeah, that's right, everything is really okay. That is so powerful. It's such a powerful anchor. Write it again and again and again and again. Even if you don't feel it yet, just write it. Just be with it. Just be open to it. The bit about surrounding myself with spiritual people or enlightenment, it's so interesting because at this moment I'm not really reaching for enlightenment anymore. I mean, sure, I want to live a conscious life. I want to be as aware as I can. I want to utilize spiritual tools as much as I can. but I'm not necessarily in it just to like meditate on a mountaintop as an enlightened being, right? Granted, these days a lot of enlightened beings are also teachers, right? Like Eckhart Tolle. So I wouldn't mind being there. But it's so interesting when I read that passage about wanting to look for more, to surround myself with people who are more spiritual. It almost sounded a bit judgmental, right? I was looking around and I was looking at my friends going, they don't really know anything about this. And now I have actually made it one of my must-haves for my partner, because I just don't think that we can connect on a deep level if we do not have this in common, right? It's kind of the way that you start to see the world, the way that you start to live your life. But at this point, I have gathered so many tools and I have found my own authentic truth that I'm embracing, that I don't need it so much from the outside world anymore, right? So now I can surround myself with people that feel good to me, no matter what their spiritual belief, or if they know nothing about this kind of work, about personal development, about spirituality, about communicating with angels or your higher self, source, your inner being, right? But it's still, I still enjoy it. I still very much like it. But at this time, and I feel like this is why it feels a little judgmental in this journal, is I was very much looking to the outside world to validate me, to tell me that I was good enough, to tell me that I was worthy, to tell me that I was on the right path, to tell me that I was doing good in my life. And I really wanted it to happen through this avenue, right? I was learning so many new amazing tools and just ways of looking at life and understanding life, that I wanted to share it, especially with my friends, with my family, with my significant other, with the people who are so dear to me. And when you kind of feel hesitant to share it with them, or when you do share it and then you get met with ridicule, right? My boyfriend was not open to it at all. And it's hard, because then it hasn't anchored you enough yet to be strong in it. Then you start to question it yourself. And then when you start questioning this new path that you started down, then you question yourself again. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. So it is definitely easier in the beginning to surround yourself with people who get it. The example that comes to mind, and I hope nobody minds that I'm using this example, it's just kind of what popped into my head, and I feel, my heart goes out to you if you struggle with this. But imagine with somebody who has an eating disorder, right? This is why it's so powerful to be in a group surrounded by other people who are struggling with what you're struggling with, and somebody who has gone out to the other end and who understands, or is just a few steps ahead of you, who can say, I've been where you are and there is a way out, right? It's interesting that that comes to mind, but that is just one thing where you can see that the family and the friends can be incredibly supportive. But if they've never felt this and they've never gone through something like this, or that in particular, then they won't be able to have that deep understanding and compassion. And I would say being highly sensitive is kind of like that, because we are different. We carry different wounds, right? That deep wound of just being so different, of being misunderstood, of feeling weaker, of feeling out of place, of feeling anxious. Like this passage that I wrote, I'm uncomfortable with new situations. I don't know what's expected of me. And just feeling awkward. Oh my gosh, I still sometimes have, anxiety about going to a new place. Even just simple things of like, what if I have to run to the bathroom? How embarrassing if I don't know where the bathroom is, or I have to ask, or God forbid we're outside somewhere there is no bathroom. What if there is food that I know my stomach is not really happy about and I'm gonna have to eat it to be polite? What if the music is too loud? What if there are people who just really have a challenging energy that really drains me? Just all these unknowns. And it's like, people who don't have those kind of anxieties social anxieties, or who don't have the sensitivities to loud noise or other people's energy, being in a new place. They don't truly understand. Sure, they can support you and be compassionate, and they can try to understand, but it's so much easier when you surround yourself with people who truly understand. So later down the road, I'm really hoping to build that kind of supportive community of highly sensitive beings who really can be uplifters, right? Who are into having this spiritual path, who are just a few steps ahead. So anybody new coming in just feels like they're cradled and understood and uplifted. And I want to say a little bit more about this. I journaled a little in this one about my physical body, and there'll definitely be more journals of me just kind of trying to figure out these like emotional, right? When you read Abraham Hicks, the first book, my first Abraham Hicks book, and how I got introduced to them was through the book Money and the Law of Attraction. Well, money, I think, was only the first third, and then it goes into relationships, and then the last third of the book is actually health and the law of attraction. And that kind of got me on this path of like, wow, every health issue, every health challenge really has a vibrational root. And Abraham Hicks all the time says, whatever you're feeling, your body is just out of balance. Whatever illness you have manifested, it started as a vibrational imbalance. What was going on in your frequency, in your vibrational field, in your, then it goes into emotions. What was happening in order for you to feel the way you do? And even before I was introduced to Abraham Hicks, it was actually Louise Hay and the movie You Can Heal Your Life, where it's all about, well, not all about, but a lot of it is about health challenges. I think in this movie, she even talks about her own health challenge of cancer and how she approached her own healing. And so I became very interested in it, and I did a lot in nutrition. That was my degree, my bachelor's in college. I chose nutrition. I wanted to go on to do a naturopathic doctor. On the route to that, I got kind of sidetracked by psychology because I got into the spirituality, and I was like, ooh, I feel like this is even more of what I'm looking for. It's the psychology, it's the mindset, it's the personal growth. It's what I'm doing with my thoughts and with my emotions, with my vibrations, that is really causing the illness and exacerbating the illness, right? So that was my path to why I wanted to become a life coach, because it's just, once you get a handle on your emotions and your vibrations, you just feel so much better, right? When you feel miserable in your body, like just the situation, just the things I was feeling in my body on a daily basis. There was a time in my first or second year of college where I had just completely overloaded myself. And I was dealing with like a headache, borderline migraine every single day. I was nauseous almost every waking hour. And that was just, now when that happens every once in a while, I'm just like, how did I used to live like that? Headaches are excruciating, and being nauseous all the time, oh my gosh. Feeling bad in your body, feeling like you can't focus, feeling like your head is floating up here somewhere, feeling drained. Oh my gosh. All these physical symptoms in your body can just, they can really wipe you out. And as highly sensitives, deal with those things on an even more intense basis for two reasons. One, we feel more intensely what goes on inside of our body, right? We have a stronger sensation for pain or for dis-ease, for disharmony in our body. And the other part is because we feel our emotions so much more strongly. It's like our body just like, I almost want to say overreacts, let's say hyperreacts. It just really sounds those alarm bells of like, wow, something's going on, which now, through the help of Abraham Hicks, I see as a great thing, because it is our emotional guidance system. And we don't just get a little like blip in the radar, we gotta like, what, you gotta do something about this, right? So we're more likely to take the action, to do the things that's gonna make us feel better, to reach for that better feeling emotion, to do something to get our vibration up, and to let go of whatever thought or emotion or situation that feel like doesn't serve us. So I do believe that it is a power and it is a wonderful thing that we are highly sensitive, and you can absolutely use it to your advantage. And if you're currently struggling with any kind of health issues, I will definitely be making more material about my own health challenges and how I kind of navigated through it, the resources that I have gathered just by being so in tune with myself, and just everything that I have read. Oh my gosh, I have read so many books on nutrition. I've tried so many different diets for myself. I had to overcome so much of my mindset about, you know, sticking to a particular diet, but then also like being around family and friends who didn't quite understand why I was on such a restricted diet, you know? Yeah, and just like, oh my gosh, kicking the sugar habit. Woo, that one was a tough one for me. Okay, last thing I'll mention, and then we'll get into the sound meditation. I feel like I'm afraid of everything. Oof. Do you ever feel that way, to where you're just like, well, I'm just bracing myself for the next thing that's going to hit me? I definitely remember times in my life where that was particularly true, where I was just kind of like, yeah, just walking around with like my energy drawn tightly around me, kind of feeling like I'm tightening my body so that at any moment I'm ready for a blow. That is not a way to live every single day, right? It's like you've got to learn to relax, and it's part of it is just life experience of getting through challenge after challenge after challenge, and be like, hey, I'm still here. This hasn't wiped me out. I'm actually stronger than I thought, right? Showing yourself that. And then it's also just gathering the tools, right? Having the tools to be able to bolster yourself, to cushion yourself, to say, I'm strong. I can handle this. I understand that I can do something about this, right? For me, one of my tactics at this point, and you kind of got to be ready for it, right? You have to have your tools in place to know that you can go into those feelings. For me, a lot of times I just meet it head on. I'm like, what am I afraid of? What is the worst thing that I think could happen? What's the worst thing that I'm afraid would happen? And if I don't spend a long time there, because it can pull me down into like anxiety. I just briefly look at it and say, what would I do in that worst case scenario? What would be my path out? What would be there for me if that was the case? Just so that I know, even if the worst case scenario happens, I'm good. I have a way out. And then I quickly let that thought go before law of attraction takes a hold of it. And then I'm like, what do I really want to create instead though? What is the path that I would really enjoy? What is it that I do want? And of course, my newfound mantra, right? I can handle it. I can handle it. This is hard and I can handle it. This is hard and I can handle it. Now, when I look back at some of the things that used to bring me to my knees, or really I should say to my back, I remember laying on the floor of my apartment, having just moved to Los Angeles, barely breathing, going, what am I going to do with this? How do I get out of this? What's my next step? Where am I going to go from here? I'm like paralyzed. I can't move. I can't breathe. So there is a way out. You are strong enough. You can handle this. There's always a next step. You can do this. You're an amazing being. You're a strong being. You're a powerful being, and you can tune in to non-physical. You can tune into source. You can tune into your higher self. You can tune into angels, to guides, to whoever you want to channel who can help you with whatever you're dealing with. There's always a solution. There's always a path forward. There's always a next step. There's always so much more love for you. Okay, now speaking of the divine and of source and of connecting, I'll end this journal. Thank you so much for sticking around so long. I'm going to end it with the sound meditation by Paul Hubbard. He asked us to write down an intention before we started, and I wrote, I release my fears, and with this, my body heals. I am clear, confident, and strong. And then after the sound meditation, this is what I wrote. An amazing experience. When the sound meditation first began, I closed my eyes and I was transported to a place in Germany called Autobahnkirche, which basically was a church that was on the side of the highway. My dad used to take my sisters and I there sometimes. Usually I don't particularly like to be in a church. However, the people around me seemed genuine, compassionate, and loving. In this particular church, there is no place to sit. And for us children, it would usually get tiring and boring. So my dad would go outside with us. There were speakers outside. It was early in the morning. The sun was just coming up, casting long shadows between the trees. The air was fresh, crisp, and cool, and so was the earth, the sand beneath our feet. There were dark wooden round blocks anchored in the ground, no more than a few inches in diameter and spaced about a foot apart. I remember hopping and stepping from one block to the next, my dad right beside me, holding my hand or shadowing me for support. This image then brought me to my dad's house in the front yard. I was stepping from block to block, up and around, walking the blocks of a sandbox we called Schnecke, which means snail, because in its spiraling nature, it looked like a snail. I could feel my father's love. He had built the sandbox for his children. He could have built an ordinary rectangular sandbox, but with all his love, he made it the shape of a spiral, a vortex. This is where my journey begins in my childhood with this incredible bond I had with my father. The garden looked so beautiful, so undisturbed, so free. It was surrounded by a low wooden fence and bushes. The front edge was allowed to grow as it wished, wild and beautiful. There was even a tree and a flower bed. Daisies bloomed all over the garden like golden stars swaying in the gentle waves of the ocean. My little sister and I used to make crowns out of these beautiful tiny white flowers. This place was my heaven on earth. I get a few more glimpses inside the house. I'm laying in my bed in my brother's room. Now my brother's room. The bed is in the far back right corner of the room, right next to the glass door. Something is hanging on the wall above my head. It is a note I wrote to God, asking him to take care of my family. I look out of the window, the glass door. It is my favorite time of day, early morning, when the sun is just starting to rise. I look up the hill. The beautiful landscape stretches endlessly, so peaceful, so quiet, so beautiful. I'm wondering what it felt like to crawl under the covers with my mom and dad early in the morning. I do not remember it, but it must have been so wonderful, so much love, so much happiness. Even my mom is at ease. I also remember crawling under the covers with a family friend when he came to visit. He always loved to cuddle and made us laugh. I can still hear him saying, "You little mouse." The guided sound meditation asks us to imagine a forest. Reluctantly, I let go of my current images and see myself standing on top of the snail, looking at the forest. And then I'm completely in the forest, no longer in Germany. I am walking along a slender path covered with soft green moss and guided to the left and right by tall leafy trees. Their bark has many shades of green and brown, and I have to let my eyes wander straight up to the sky to see the beautiful crowns of these trees. The path leads to a single old beautiful tree with dark bark with many Furchen, like cuts like scrapes, like having withstood many storms and cold winters. This tree stands alone and is much shorter than the other trees, yet much wider, strong, and undefiable. I sit facing the tree, placing both palms on the tree's roots to my left and right. I then face the other direction, leaning my back against the comfort and strength, the protection and the love this tree stump encompasses. Paul leads the meditation to where two creatures appear, one to my right, a tall, slender man with shoulder-length brown curls. It is Gabriel, with his left hand on my shoulder and a smile as he looks at me. He is my protector, my teacher, my guide. To my left, not even half the size of Gabriel, is a fairy. She almost looks like a child with her light-hearted spirit. Paul invites all creatures of the forest, and before he can say the specific ones, I'm already imagining them a split second before each gets named. There are bears and squirrels, deer, skunk, lions, panthers, rabbits, horses. They all come and sit in a semicircle around me. A white unicorn walks up to me and touches its silver pearl horn to my forehead. An eagle flies to my side, placing his right claw on my left knee. I'm sitting in yogi seat. Everyone is here, and I feel as though all the animals are gathered here only because of me. They are here to heal me. Images start to overlay. I see myself as Christine, the human, being healed, and I see myself as the white witch, the healer, a woman to which the animals are drawn to for love, comfort, and strength. Gabriel is still standing by my side, now holding my hand in both of his. As I am standing as the white healer, he looks at me lovingly. I mount the white unicorn, and together we jump into the tree and down through its roots into the underworld. We gallop along the sun-dried, knee-high grass, just galloping. I feel free. I feel home. Another image overlays. I am a Native American young woman with 2 braids and a band around my forehead. My horse is white and brown. We are galloping along the beach, along the brush, along grassy paths, steadily onward. I get the urging feeling that I am needed somewhere. We get to the waterfall. I have never before crossed it, and I almost feel afraid to do so. Yet, alas, I am meant to do so. A wooden bridge forms, crossing the river, and on we go into a forest, then galloping right alongside it with powerful trees to our left and endless green meadows in front and to the right. Onward we gallop. Mountains are making themselves visible along the sky. We reach the foot of a powerful, silent mountain, and we begin our steady ascent. We ride along the crown of the mountain, overlooking the peaceful, luscious valleys to our left and right. We reach the summit, the circle, the end of our path. There we stand, my horse carrying me. The wind blows through his mane and the feathers in my hair. The view is breathtaking, beautiful, calm, powerful. This is where I was so desperately needed. Yet I see no one whom I could help. Then Spirit tells me, you're not supposed to heal individual people or animals. You are supposed to stand here on top of this mountain so everyone can see you. The animals have searched for you. They need your guidance. Like the star in the sky, you are meant to stand on top of this mountain so everyone can see you from thousands of miles away. And I look up into the dark sky. Thousands of stars are dancing, glowing silver white in the sky. I hear a voice. The sky is the same, no matter where you are. When you look up into the sky, you can choose wherever you want to be. I close my eyes. I'm standing outside in the dark, next to the beer tent. Sebastian and I have our arms wrapped tightly around each other, facing each other, looking into the star-filled sky. I was so incredibly happy that night, So many moments I spent in his arms, enveloped in his endless, passionate love. I do not remember what happened next, yet I feel my head moving in a circular clockwise manner. I was completely relaxed, letting the movement happen, since the room was dark and I hoped others were immersed in their own meditation. And a part of me simply didn't care. The music enticed my body to move, and a vortex spun me clockwise and counterclockwise and clockwise again. The physical healing commenced. I saw myself engulfed in a spiral, a helix spinning just as my chakras were. I was open, light, filled with curiosity, and yet each movement seemed so natural, as if I had done it 1,000,000 times. I envisioned healing energy spiraling through me, engulfing me, flowing down my esophagus lining and cleaning my stomach, my small intestines, my colon. The drum entered the sound meditation, softly, teasingly, making its presence known. With each beat, I felt as though a drop of energy created a rippled semicircle-shaped bell on top and bottom and from each side, meeting their apex in my center, my belly. I felt negative, sickly emotions and energy drain like mud from my limbs and releasing as tiny paper doves, carrying my worries and fears to the end of the earth. The drums began to beat stronger, louder, demanding my attention, awakening the desire to move, to dance, to laugh around the fire. I ride into the night on my painted horse, looking at the sky, hearing and feeling the rhythm of the drums. I dismount on a peaceful meadow, close to the others, around the fire. My horse and I play, prancing, hopping, dancing under the moonlight. The sky is the same, no matter where you are. Never be afraid of the dark, for it brings you the beauty of the stars and the moon, and it brings calmness and enables the beginning of a new day. What an amazing opportunity, and I feel forever changed. Then I realize every single moment of each day leaves us forever changed. Life is beautiful. I hope you had your own healing journey through my channeled healing journey. Gosh, there were so many details that I didn't even remember all these years. Let's just float in that energy for a while. And I hope, this is something that I always come back to and that I always like to remember. It's like this moment will never come back. This moment, what you decide to do with this moment, how you choose to feel in this moment, the love that you stream or deny yourself and others in this moment matters. What you do with this moment matters. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.